Good evening and welcome to the third and final meeting for this evening. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, and at this time I would like to convene our City Council meeting. And in lieu of a roll call, I would ask each council person to introduce themselves. Dave?
Dave Mobley, City Council at Large.
John Jennings, District 4.
Dave Harrison, District 5.
Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Anthony Davidson, District 3.
Ed Bell, District 2.
Mary Huser Stewart, District 1.
Kathy Coates, Council at Large.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, you have been presented with the minutes from the previous meeting. This time I'll open the floor for comments or questions or corrections pursuant to those minutes.
I motion we accept as written.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. We will get out of order for a minute. We'll go to number 7, special presentation. And at this time, I would ask those to come forward for the Constitution Week proclamation. This is a proclamation for Constitution Week 2012. Whereas September the 17th, 2012 marks the 225th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize the magnificent document and the anniversary of its creation, and whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate this occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore I, Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, do hereby proclaim September the 17th through September the 23rd, 2012 to be Constitution Week. In the City of Beech Grove, we ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideas the framers of the Constitution had in 1787. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the great seal of the City of Beech Grove on this 4th day of September in the year of our Lord 2012. I'll present this to you. If you would like to say a couple words, you would be more than happy.
Well, I'm afraid I'm lost for words here. Thank you very much.
All right. Carol, you would like to say anything?
Carol.
All right. Is Gary Loveless here? We'll move on to, the mayor liaison is not here, so we'll move on to committee reports. Tim Latimer called me about an hour ago and said that something had come up and he could not be here this evening, and he will present a report to the clerk treasurer. Next, RDC. Is there someone here from the Redevelopment Commission? If not, we'll move on to public safety. Chief, would you like to come forward with a report, please?
Mayor and Council. Public safety meeting convened last week of August. At the time, we did an after-action report on the August 25th fireworks, where the police and fire departments had an incident management team established in the MEC event at the park. All went well for public safety that evening. We viewed as a success. At this meeting, we also discussed upcoming events that affects public safety in Beech Grove, such as the Fall Festival and several other small venues, including Oktoberfest, a Holy Name. Our new ambulance has arrived, and we've brought it this evening. It's outside if anyone would like to take a look and view it after this meeting. And that is all.
Chief, any problems with the fireworks?
No, none that we had with any emergency response with police and fire. We responded several calls inside the park and outside, but it was a success.
All right, thank you. Last report is financial.
Dear councilors, I have listed balances for the various bank accounts as of 8/31/2012. Of course, there are still checks outstanding. The corporate account includes the 2012 bond money, the $750,000 for Main Street project, and the almost $200,000 for the rainy day fund. As you can see, there is still over $1.3 million of the bond money in the general account. When you figure the bond money, Main Street project money, and the rainy day fund, the corporate account has less than $1.3 million left. And we have 9 payrolls remaining this year that total approximately $2 million. 4 retiree payrolls remaining that total over $240,000, not including health insurance that will total approximately $200,000 and other bills. I just want to make sure the mayor and the council understands exactly where we are financially. Our corporate account has $3,536,179.17. The utility, $825,621.02. Main Street loan, $234,299.52. City court, $40,025. Criminal investigation fund, $149,436.03. RDC general, $275,052.87. And the RDC debt service, $584,551.69. The 2012 bond money spent so far: Ice Miller, $32,826.87 plus a $20 wire fee. Peters Consulting, $23,492.73 plus a $20 wire fee. Regions, the bond administrator, $750. Global for the fire engine, $458,264. Fire Services Incorporated for our ambulance, $154,673.11. Calumet for DPW paving, $65,526.60. Let's see. Indy Curb Appeal, $750 for DPW striping of the parking lot. Hartman Construction, $650 for fire station number 102. Hartman Construction, $13,635 for fire station number 102. Accurate Concrete, $14,040. That was for Hartman Field. I'd also like to let everybody know that Regions Bank won the bid on the financing for the 2 new trash trucks. Their bid came in at 2.12% for 59 months. The next nearest bid was PNC at 2.28. I'd also like to let the citizens know that yesterday over the weekend our city website has went down, and I'm still in contact since yesterday with the people that actually monitor the city website, and as of yet you can get part of it you can't. And also I've got like 3 more invoices for the lightning strike, and I will have an accurate amount of money that was we incurred because of the lightning strike. At the present time, I do not have all the invoices in for it. That's it.
All right. Thank you, clerk. Questions for the clerk?
Well, I was just wondering how much insurance will take care of regarding all of the lightning.
The lightning strike, we have a $10,000 deductible per claim, so it should cover pretty much everything with the exception of the $10,000 plus any depreciation that might be involved in that. But it was a significant claim. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments by council members? If not, we will go to public comment. No one has signed up to speak on regular business. Is there anybody out there who wants to speak on regular business that did not sign up? I will call, there's one person, Tammy Smith, who wants to talk when it comes to sewer rates. When that comes, we will ask her to step forward. And then we've had 3 people sign up to speak on General Ordinance number 33 this evening. So when that happens, we will call those people up also. On to old business, the first order of business, an RDC appointment. The RDC has a vacancy due to a resignation. It is a council appointment. The council has brought 3 people forward, names of 3 people, for consideration to the RDC. And at this time, I will defer to our Council Pro Tem President Ed Bell for guidance on how to proceed on filling the position. Ed?
Thank you, Mayor. I didn't bring any paper, I guess, red paper. I guess, well, the 3 names that have been brought up for voting tonight in good consideration is Ben Herman, Liz Lamping, and Joe Griffin. What we can do is put it on paper and read the names, you know, as far as the ballot. Is that all right with the 3, or
Council,
how do you want to proceed?
Council, I'd recommend that you poll the council by voice vote. But prior to that, Councilor Mobley would like to speak.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we ought to have the 2 or 3 come up and give us 3 minutes on why we should choose them for the RDC, and give us an opportunity to ask them questions.
Is Joe Griffin here? Joe, you have 3 minutes, please.
My name's Joe Griffin. I've been put up for this every time since 2007. Mary and Ed put me up several times. And that I can state that the next RDC meeting won't be my first RDC meeting. I've been in more RDC meetings, and this isn't to brag, this is just point out a fact, in the whole council and the entire RDC council put together. At one time, they nicknamed me the Crowd. I've made several contacts all on my own. I've taken Ed Bell and the mayor down to talk to some people. These people know me by name. I feel I can be a valuable asset by all that stuff. On the latest thing I've done is, if you've read about it, the 11th largest city, Indianapolis, had a TIF study group going on. I attended that, and I even stayed awake during most of them. And it brought me a whole new understanding of what an RDC is about. RDC is not just about TIF. RDC is about redeveloping the entire city. And we need to take a look at the entire city. Somebody made a comment that, hey, do you understand that you're going to be working for free? Well, that's kind of sort of yes, but you know, if the RDC does their job properly, we won't be working for free, because we'll lower the taxes, raise the assessed value. So that's more money in all of our pockets. So, and the RDC that's currently in place, God bless them, they are making a lot of rookie mistakes. I know what that big book's about. I understand the meanings. I know where the TIF areas are, because I was there during the whole entire thing. Hopefully we can minimize or eliminate a lot of mistakes that's been going on and focus on what we need to focus on and what the TIF is all about. I've answered several questions from most people sitting up there on TIF. And redevelopment is about redeveloping the entire city. And we need to get the entire city involved for redevelopment. We don't serve the council, we don't serve anybody, we serve the citizens of the town. And successful redevelopment takes in the entire town. It's about transparency, transparency, transparency. And we need to get citizens excited and involved. So that's my 3 minutes, I guess.
Any questions for Joe?
Thank you, Joe, for showing up.
Thanks, Joe.
Introduce yourself.
Thanks, Joe.
Is Ben Herman here, please? Elizabeth Lamping. Those are the 3 names, Mr. President.
Okay. I will, what I'll do then is bring out the names individually, and you vote, say nay or yea. I'll bring out Ben Herman first. Anyone votes for him? Not hearing any. Liz Lamping. Joe Griffin.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Joe, congratulations.
All right, thank you. On to old business. General Ordinance number 25, 2012 is up for third and final reading. General Ordinance number 25 is a ordinance that raises tap fees for the installation of lateral sewer lines, cleanouts, repairs, and replacement of such lines. This time I'll ask for a motion to read General Ordinance number 25, 2012 by title only, please.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance number 25, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 50, Sections 50.071 and 50.083 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, concerning the installation of lateral sewer lines, cleanouts, repairs, or replacement of such lines, and inspections conducted by the City of Beech Grove and its authorized agents. This time I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance number 25, 2012 on third and final reading.
I'll make a motion, we accept General Ordinance number 25, 2012 as written on third reading.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance number 26, 2012 is up for third and final reading. It is an ordinance that increases the ambulance rates for ambulance runs taken outside of the corporate limits of the City of Beech Grove. So at this time, I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules to read General Ordinance number 26 by title only.
I'll make said motion then.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance number 26, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 34, Section 34.15B of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, pursuant to ambulance responses outside the corporate city limits of the City of Beech Grove. This time I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance number 26 on third and final reading.
I'll make said motion, Mayor.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance number 27, 2012 is up for second and third reading this evening. This time I'll ask for a, General Ordinance number 27 is an ordinance that restricts parking on Elm Street from Memorial to Killian Drive. So at this time, I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules to read General Ordinance Number 27, 2012 by title only.
I'll make said motion, Mayor.
Mayor, I might interject. Does this meet the rules if it's...
Is it 2 pages?
No.
Oh, it's 1 page, I'm sorry. No, I can't do that, I'm sorry. I'll have to read it in its entirety. General Ordinance Number 27, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 78, Section I of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, pursuant to restricting parking on the north side of Elm Street from Memorial Drive to Killian Drive. Whereas Elm Street in this area is on a hill with a steep incline with restricted visibility, and whereas backing out of driveways may be hazardous to drivers because they may not see oncoming traffic, and whereas people parking cars on the north side of Elm Street cause a added risk and further restricts the views of persons attempting to back out of their driveways, and whereas it is recommended by the police chief to restrict parking in the prescribed area listed above. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, that Chapter 78, Schedule I of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove be amended. Be it further ordained that the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana finds cause to amend Chapter 78, Schedule I of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove to read as follows. Elm Street, north side from Memorial Drive to Killian Drive. Be it further ordained that the Common Council instructs the Board of Public Works and Safety to install no parking signs on the north side of Elm Street from Memorial Drive to Killian Drive. Be it further ordained that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall become effective 60 days after passage by the Common Council, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor. Ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance Number 27 on second reading.
Would this be a time for conversation?
Sure.
Does anybody here oppose this parking sign? It was just a few years ago that we took the signs down. It was a big hubbub then, and I'm hoping that whoever had a problem with it last time is here to tell us why they have an issue. I live in this neighborhood. I understand that if people would do the speed limit through there, it wouldn't be an issue, but it's a horrible situation, and I want to make sure that there wasn't anybody opposed to this sign. Thank you. I motion we accept General Ordinance Number 27, 2012 on second reading as written.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Do you want to, hey John, do you want to take this to third reading next meeting, or do you want to go ahead and do it tonight?
I usually have a horrible complaint with doing them all, doing second and third reading the same night, but with this, I've gone and knocked on doors. If I can't get anybody to show up for a meeting to complain, then let's vote it.
All right. General Ordinance Number 27, 2012 is up for third and final reading. General Ordinance Number 27, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 78, Schedule I of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, pursuant to restricting parking on the north side of Elm Street from Memorial Drive to Killian Drive. Whereas Elm Street in this area is on a hill with a steep incline with restricted visibility, and whereas backing out of driveways may be hazardous to drivers because they may not see oncoming traffic, and whereas people parking cars on the north side of Elm Street cause a added risk and further restricts the views of persons attempting to back out of their driveways, and where it is recommended by the police chief to restrict parking on the prescribed area listed above. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, that Chapter 78, Schedule I of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove be amended. Be it further ordained that the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, finds cause to amend Chapter 78, Schedule I of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove to read as follows. Elm Street, north side from Memorial Drive to Killian Drive. Be it further ordained that the Common Council instructs the Board of Public Works and Safety to install no parking signs on the north side of Elm Street from Memorial Drive to Killian Drive. Be it further ordained that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall become effective 60 days after passage by the Common Council, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor. This time I ask for a motion to approve general ordinance number 27 on third and final reading.
I'll make said motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same sign.
Terry, 7.
And John, if I can interject here, thank you for all your hard work and pounding on the pavement to find out about what your neighborhood thought about that. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I wish I could have found the reason we took it out 5 years ago.
I agree.
General ordinance number 28, 2012 is an ordinance that renames road identifications such as Pacific Avenue to Hornet Avenue, Grovewood Avenue to Grovewood Drive. So at this time, I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules and read general ordinance number 28 by title only.
Sir, I would like to make that recommendation, seeing that it's 2 pages.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General ordinance number 28, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 78, Schedule I-C of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, pursuant to street names and road identifications.
A motion we accept as written.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General ordinance number 28, 2012 is up for third and final reading this evening. This time I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules to read by title only.
I'll make said motion to waive.
Second?
Second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General ordinance number 28, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 78, Schedule I-C of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, pursuant to street names and road identifications. Ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance number 28 on third and final reading.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. You want to do this next one? General ordinance number 29, 2012 is up for second, third reading this evening. This time I'll defer to Councilor Davidson to read the ordinance.
Mayor.
General Ordinance Number 29, 2012 is an ordinance amending Chapter 35, Section 35.181 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, pursuant to purchasing agency purchasing supplies. Whereas the Board of Works and Safety is designated as the purchasing agency for the City of Beech Grove under Indiana Code 5-22, and whereas Indiana Code 5-22-6-2 allows the governing body to adopt rules for the purchase of services, governmental body, and whereas restrictions must be set in place to ensure proper spending, and whereas the Common Council has determined that purchasing of supplies and services should have tighter restrictions to ensure our city receives the best price possible. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, that Section 35.181 of the Code of Ordinances be amended and changed with the following. Section 35.181, Powers and Duties. Change 25,000 to 10,000. A, the purchasing agency may purchase supplies or services with an estimated cost of less than 10,000 on an open market without inviting or receiving quotes or bids. Be it further ordained that the Common Council finds it just to amend Chapter 35, Section 35.181 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Be it further ordained that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect 60 days after passage of the Common Council, attested by the Clerk Treasurer and signed by the Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve General Orders Number 29, 2012 on second reading, please.
Mayor, I would like to amend Section D to read the youth.
General Orders
I picked it
Number,
up.
General Orders Number 29.
Yep, I'm sorry, I picked it up wrong.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we accept General Ordinance Number 29, 2012 as written.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Thank you. General Orders Number 29, 2012 is up for third and final reading. I'll defer back to Councilor Davidson.
Thank you, Mayor. General Ordinance Number 29, 2012 is an ordinance amending Chapter 35, Section 35.181 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, pursuant to purchasing agency purchasing supplies. Whereas the Board of Works and Safety is designated as the purchasing agency for the City of Beech Grove under Indiana Code 5-22. And whereas Indiana Code 5-22-6-2 allows the governing body to adopt rules for the purchase of services governmental body. Whereas restrictions must be set in place to ensure proper spending. And whereas the Common Council has determined that the purchasing of supplies and services should have tighter restrictions to ensure our city receives the best price possible. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, that Section 35.181 of the Code of Ordinances be amended and changed with the following. Section 35.181, Powers and Duties. Change 25,000 to 10,000. A, the purchasing agency may purchase supplies or services with an estimated cost of less than 10,000 on an open market without inviting or receiving quotes or bids. Be it further ordained by the Common Council finds it just to amend Chapter 35, Section 35.181 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Be it further ordained that all ordinances or parts or ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect 60 days after passage of the Common Council, attested by the Clerk Treasurer and signed by the Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve General Orders Number 29, 2012 on third and final reading.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same sign. For members of the council, at our last meeting, General Orders Number 30 was amended, and Section 35.21E was removed. In your packet, I left an old one in there, and I apologize for that. This evening, you should have received a new one in front of you, so that's the one we will work off of.
Was it accepted as amended on the first reading?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
ordinance number 30, 2012 is up for second reading this evening, and I will ask for a recommendation to waive the rules to read by title only.
I'll make said recommendation.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This time I'll defer to Councilor Davidson.
Thank you, Mayor. General Ordinance Number 30, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 35, the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, inserting Section 35.21 pursuant to the establishment of a Youth Advisory Board.
All those, General Ordinance number 30, 2012 is up for second reading. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance number 30, 2012 on second reading.
Mayor, could I, this time, apologize, but to try to have an amendment in Section D, excuse me, to read the Youth Advisory Board shall have 2 rather than 1 members of the Common Council who shall act as liaison and consisting members will be a Democrat, Republican, and/or Independent.
There's a recommendation to amend General Ordinance number 30 on second reading. I need a second.
A second.
Ed made the motion. I need a second.
I'm confused on the amendment, just in practicality, how that's going to work. If it's by volunteer, what if we have Democrats, Republicans, and Independents? Are all 3 of them going to be on it, or what if
Well, we
they all
have to have
three?
at least 2, but the 3 on the council here would love to be there. That'd be no problem.
I mean, I guess, could we go anyway? I mean, how official is this capacity? I mean, I know Anthony volunteered his services because it's his ordinance. I guess I'm not there.
I feel like
I mean, I'm not
Anthony may
opposed
need
to it, I
help
just-
too, so.
Well, and that may well be true. Yes, Craig?
Yeah, Kathy, the way I read it, or the way I interpret it, is that there be a Republican and a Democrat who serve as liaisons, as opposed to just one party, so it's bipartisan. The way it reads now is, and Anthony's been gracious with his time to serve as head of the youth council, but I think, and I'm speculating that Ed's concern is that this would be turned into, for lack of a better term, the young Beech Grove Young Republicans Club, and I don't think that's necessarily the intent. I think the intent was to involve the youth, and to ensure that, we would have a member from both parties, a member from the Republican Party and a member from the Democratic Party.
Okay.
Am I right, Ed?
Yes, I really wanted to try to keep the parties out.
Yeah, that's
But I wanted at least to have 2 members, and since the council is, have the parties represented, it should be both sides, but I really didn't like the party to be put in there.
Yeah, I guess I'm naive because I thought that a youth council was for the youth regardless of their party affiliation, which most of them don't have one because they're under 18. It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know. I don't. And I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not for. I have no strong feelings.
Any other comment by council members? If not, I need a second for that amendment.
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, the same sign.
Yay.
4 to 3.
Opposed.
The amendment fails 4 to 3. Go back to General Ordinance number 30, 2012. It's up for second reading. I ask for motion to approve General Ordinance number 30 on second reading.
I'll make said motion to approve General Ordinance number 30, 2012, as written.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance number 30, 2012 is up for third and final reading this evening. This time I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules to read General ordinance number 30 by title only.
I'll make said motion.
Second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
General ordinance number 30, 2012 is an ordinance that amends chapter, or excuse me, I'll defer to councilors. Counselor? Go ahead and read it.
Thank you. General ordinance number 30, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 35 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, inserting Section 35.21 pursuant to the establishment of a Youth Advisory Board.
I motion we accept general ordinance number 30, 2012 as written.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign, please. Kathy?
Okay.
Defeat, I'm just, I'm not allowed.
Do you have?
Yeah, here it is. I think it's- Sure.
General ordinance number 31, 2012 is up for second and third reading this evening. This time I'll defer to the clerk to read the ordinance in its entirety. Dan?
General ordinance number 31, 2012, an ordinance amending Chapter 77 traffic schedules, Schedule 4 speed limits, 6 and 7 of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Whereas speed limit signs currently read 40 miles per hour on Emerson Avenue, and whereas speed limit changes were posted without changing the Code of Ordinances, and whereas the Common Council has determined that changing the Code of Ordinances to reflect the speed limit, which signs currently read, must be done, and whereas Section Chapter 77, Schedule 4, 6, and 7 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, the Code of Ordinances must be amended to provide for the matter set forth herein. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, that the following section of Chapter 77, Schedule 4, 6, and 7 of the Code of Ordinances be amended and hereafter read as follows. Number 6, motor vehicles shall not be operated on the following streets in excess of 40 miles per hour, Emerson Avenue. Number 7, motor vehicles shall not be operated on the following streets in excess of 45 miles per hour. Delete Emerson Avenue from I-465 to Thompson Road. Be it further ordained that the Common Council finds it just to amend Chapter 77, Schedule 4 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Be it further ordained that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with hereby be repealed. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect 60 days after passage by the Common Council, attested by the Clerk Treasurer and signed by the Mayor.
For the ordinance, ask for a motion to approve General ordinance number 31 on second reading, please.
Make said motion.
All second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General ordinance number 31, 2012 is up for third and final reading. This time I'll defer again to the clerk to read the ordinance in its entirety.
General ordinance number 31, 2012, an ordinance amending Chapter 77 traffic schedules, Schedule 4 speed limits, 6 and 7 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Whereas speed limit signs currently read 40 miles per hour on Emerson Avenue, and whereas speed limit changes were posted without changing the Code of Ordinances, and whereas the Common Council has determined that changing the Code of Ordinances to reflect the speed limit, which signs currently read, must be done. And whereas Section Chapter 77, Schedule 4, 6, and 7 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, the Code of Ordinances, must be amended to provide for the matter set forth herein. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, that the following section of Chapter 77, Schedule 4, 6, and 7 of the Code of Ordinances be amended and hereafter read as follows. Number 6, motor vehicles shall not be operated on the following streets in excess of 40 miles per hour. Emerson Avenue. Number 7, motor vehicles shall not be operated on the following streets in excess of 45 miles per hour. Delete Emerson Avenue, I-465 to Thompson Road. Be it further ordained that the Common Council finds it just to amend Chapter 77, Schedule 4 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Be it further ordained that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with hereby be repealed. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect 60 days after passage by the Common Council, attested by the Clerk Treasurer and signed by the Mayor.
General ordinance number 31 is up for vote on third and final reading. I ask for a motion at this time to approve general ordinance number 31 on third and final reading.
I'll make said motion, sir.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. That concludes old business. At this time, we'll change the order of new business. We're scheduled to hear sewer rates right now, but we're going to go to General Ordinance number 33, 2012. We've had 3 people sign up to speak: Aaron Janetti, James Bond, and David Rinks. If they would like to speak on this ordinance at this time. And before you speak, I will advise all 3 of you that the council is going to approach me tonight to withdraw this ordinance.
That's good news. Aaron J., Local 416 Union President.
And your home address, LT?
709 West 600 North, Shelby County, 46176. We had a lot of concerns with this ordinance in regards to our collective bargaining agreement, which we have with the City of Beech Grove. With the way it was written and how it was written, it was going to cause a lot of conflict with our contract, which we have with the City of Beech Grove. And we were trying to prevent that from happening so that we could work with the council to try to hopefully correct this so it doesn't interfere with the contract and make things better, basically, is what we were looking at doing.
Aaron, thank you.
Hi, I'm Sergeant James Bond. I'm the primary FOP rep for the police department. Address is 8141 Whistlewood Drive in Indianapolis. We would just echo what the fire department said. We too have a contract that we're currently working under. There are many points in this ordinance that are being in conflict with our contract as well. And we feel we've had a good working relationship with the city council the past couple of years, and we'd like to keep working on that, and we'd like to have a chance to work with you before any of this ordinance is introduced.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To my brothers and sisters, I was not prepared to sign this ordinance if it would have been approved on third reading. So we are going to take a look at it, and we'll go from there. So thank you for coming out tonight. It's always good to see all of you, and we appreciate, every one of us up here appreciates what you do. So thank you. We'll move on. Go ahead to Councilor Davidson.
General Ordinance number 33, 2012 is an ordinance that amends section 3701, 3703, 3704, 3705, 3706, 3707, 3708, and 3711, and adds section 3713 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. At this time, I recommend that we withdraw this ordinance.
I'll second that.
Those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
And it will be withdrawn at this time for future consideration. We will move on to General Ordinance number 32, 2012, and I will read the ordinance in its entirety. General Ordinance number 28, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 50, Sections 50.001, 50.021, 50.032, 50.033, 50.034, 50.038, 50.047, and 50.084 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Whereas the City of Beech Grove owns, operates, and maintains a sanitary sewer system which the citizens of Beech Grove depend upon for prompt removal of wastewater. And whereas Citizens Energy Group treats wastewater that is generated by business and residential users and bills accordingly for usage. Whereas Covanta and the Southside Landfill are recipients of trash that is collected by our Department of Public Works Department and bills accordingly to dispose of our trash. And whereas the cost to treat wastewater has risen by over $102,000 in the last 4 years, and according to Citizens Energy, wastewater treatment fees will rise by an estimated $23,000 in 2013. Now therefore be it ordained that the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana finds cause to amend Chapter 50, Sections 50.001, 50.021, 50.032, 50.034, 50.038, 50.047, and 50.084 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove. Be it further ordained that the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana shall amend the Code of Ordinances to read as follows. Sections 50.001 definitions. Residential user is a user of the sewage works whose premises or building is used as primary as a residence. This shall include single-family dwelling unit, double-family dwelling units, and apartments. Page 2, Sections 50.021, unlawful discharges into public sewer. Section A, one sentence, the Board of Sanitation is authorized to prohibit. Section 50.032, calculations of sewer use charge. Subsection D, ISDB is Citizens Energy. ISDSS is Citizens Energy. ISDBOD is Citizens Energy, charged to Beech Grove. DSISD is debt service to Citizens Energy. Subsection E, volume charge, $2.46 per 100 cubic feet. That is an increase from $1.90 set in 2004. Section 50.033, minimum charge, base level basis of rates. A, notwithstanding other provisions of the code, the minimum charge on any monthly billing for a residential user shall be $19.40 per meter. $19.40 is an increase up from $16.60 per month. B, the minimum charge on any monthly billing for a non-residential user shall be as follows. The meter size, less than 1 inch meter, $27.34. 1 inch meter, $31.88. Inch and 1/4 meter, $57.77. Inch and a half meter, $77.19. 2 inch meter, $116.03. 3 inch meter, $193.72. 4 inch meter, $387.93. 6 inch meter, $776.35. The minimum charge includes a $7.10 service charge provided for in Division E below. Subsection E, in addition to all other charges for treatment of sewage waste to an individual user, the imposed service charge of $7.10 per month on the following users: churches, fire departments, government buildings, commercial buildings, educational facilities, parks buildings, commercial buildings, federal facilities, motels, retail businesses, daycare centers, doctor's offices and treatment centers, assisted living facilities, nursing homes, single-family dwellings, double-family dwellings. Each separate site is an individual user. Apartments, each individual apartment is an individual user. Section 50.038, rate of review of sewer use charge, industrial cost recovery charge. Each year, the Director of Public Works may recommend to the Board of Sanitation that a financial study be conducted. Section 50.039, rates for multiple dwellings. Section E, subsection E, delete in its entirety. Section 50.047, uniform solid waste fee collection. C, the uniform solid waste fee established by Section 96.07 of the Code of Ordinances hereby shall set the rate of $15 per month to be billed to all single and double family residences within the corporate boundaries of the city. The rate increases from $10 per month to $15 per month for residential trash pickup. Section 50.084, establishment of other non-recurring charges, authority to raise minimum charge. Non-residential new account activation, $25. $25 is a decrease from $75. Be it further ordained that the Common Council finds it just to amend Chapter 50, Sections 50.001, 50.021, 50.032, 50.033, 50.034, 50.038, 50.047, and 50.084 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Be it further ordained that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect 60 days after passage by the Common Council, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor. At this time, I would ask our financial consultant, Jeff Peters. Jeff, could you step forward, please, for a presentation to the council?
Hello all.
Good evening, Joe.
Good to see you this evening.
Thanks.
Before we get into utility stuff, hope you were all thrilled with your interest rate on your bond issue. 10-year money, less than 2%. Pretty neat. Good to see. A little bit of history on the utility rates. For those of you that were here 8 years ago, we had this same discussion. The rates were last raised in '04. Prior to that, I think it had been 10 to 12 years since the rates had been raised. In 2004, the increase included a couple fiscal policy decisions that you needed to overcome as a city, and it included taking the funding of the trash service onto the utility away from the general fund, which, you know, is a common practice that's happened in the last 15 years, or for those few cities that still remain to pay for it out of their general fund and their property taxes. As the property tax caps have kicked in, they too have gone the way of charging for the service of trash removal. The other thing that you did as a city was to take a reasonable return on investment from your utility, since you are the owner of this asset of your municipal utility. One of the options you have is to take a return on that investment, all that hard structure that's in the ground, and compensate yourself as a city into your general fund. And you've done that for the last 8 years in some regards in order to help fund the operations of the city itself. Also in 2004, you might remember, there were capital projects that were included in the increase in the rates, which included some sewer renovations, and that money was provided by the Indiana Bond Bank and the State Revolving Fund, and those debts are still on and live until 2025. On the current proposal, the current rates that you have are insufficient to cover these anticipated costs of the utility, including the operations, the policy initiatives that you pursued in 2004, and your outstanding debt service with the state of Indiana. The proposed rate study that you all have before you, and we'll go through that in detail shortly, provides for these costs. It also provides for a small amount for an operating or a capital reserve, which would be for unexpected operating costs that you might see, or small repairs to the sewage works. Now, there is no money included in here like 2004 that had a bond issue for you to do any significant improvements or significant renovations or maintenance to the facility. So if that comes to light that that's something you're going to need to do in the future, you're going to again have to look at your rates and the structure. The proposed rate study, as the mayor said, the current service charge would remain the same. The rate charge per 100 cubic feet would go from $1.90 to $2.46, and that increases the residential monthly minimum from $16.60 to $19.40, and that's based on 500 cubic feet sewage. The minimum amounts for the non-residential user categories, they are maintaining the same proportionate relationship to the residential costs that you approved in 2004. So that spread between all the different categories has remained the same, so we don't have that discussion about paying fair shares and fair amounts. It's basically a reallocation where everybody's sharing those costs going forward on the different categories. The proposed rate study for the trash fees, as the mayor said, was to increase from 10 to 15, and that's to cover the approximate cost of the trash service. Again, we'll cover that page in the rate study as we go through it. One of the other things I thought was good to mention, you know, whenever you're tasked with this idea of raising the utility rates, because nobody ever wants to have to do it, but it is a necessity at certain points in time. But you always want to know, well, how does that stack up to what everybody else has to pay? And in 2012, there was a study put out. It's called the 2012 Indiana Comparative Rate Study for Sewer, and it was done by Umbaugh, the accounting firm here in Indianapolis. And it shows that for sewer only, the equivalent, and we did have to extrapolate a little bit from theirs to equate to your exact sewer charge, but the equivalent rate for the state average would be $37.10 compared to your minimum at the $19.40. So even if you group your minimum sewer charge at the $19.40 and your trash fee at $15, you're only at $34.40. So those two combined is still less than what the average person is paying for sewer service only in that Indiana study. So I thought that was a good thing to point out and kind of think about as you weigh the good, the bad, and the indifferent on the rates. I believe everybody has a copy of the rate study that was sent out. The first page, legislative authority for the rate setting. We always like to walk through that code site. For those of you that like to go back and read it, is Indiana Code 36-9-23-25. And it gives some of the things that the legislative body of yourself needs to do. The municipal legislative body shall establish just and equitable fees for services rendered by the Sewage Works Department. The fees that you're going to set must be sufficient to pay all expenses incidental to operation. These include legal, maintenance, operating, repairs, lease rentals, and interest. You have to provide for a sinking fund for your debt service requirements. Again, both of your debts are held by the Indiana Bond Bank, one through the bond bank itself and the other through the state revolving fund. And they do check on an annual basis to make sure that you are holding up your end of the deal by providing sufficient fees to generate revenues to provide for fund balances along with paying the principal and interest. You also need to provide adequate working capital, and you need to provide adequate money for improvements and replacements. A lot of times, too, I'll get questions from fiscal bodies that'll say, well, you know, we really hate this activity of having to raise rates. What happens if we just don't do it? Well, these are things that previous councils have undertaken. The debt service, the operations. You either need to be on board to provide sufficient rates to continue these processes, or you need not be in the utility business. And, you know, as a unit of government, you're not required to provide the utility service. A lot of people like to control it, but, you know, as you've seen surrounding communities and other people, they'll sell their utility just so they're not in the utility business, because it's not part of government. You don't have to have it. If you sell it, you'll get the proceeds from it. That money you can use for general purposes. You can invest it like a rainy day fund, continue to get interest off of it. So it's one of those decisions of, you know, a business nature and a long-term financial nature. Is it better for you to control that utility and hold that asset, or is it better to convert it into cash and use it for the operations of the city?
I have a question for you, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
On this page, with these bullet points, it doesn't appear to me that with what we're collecting right now that we can do this year.
No. Well, this year you're going to be real close on the edge. Going forward, you will not be able to. And that's why, you know, this discussion is occurring now. Because the rates are insufficient to do all these activities that you have previously agreed to. Continuing with the legislative authority, the code lays out 10 points that you can use when you set the fees. You can do it by a flat charge for each sewer connection. 2, the amount of water used on the property. 3, the amount and size of water outlets on a property. 4, the amount, strength, or character of sewage discharge into the sewers. 5, size of the sewer connection. 6, whether property has been or will be required to pay separately for any part of sewage works. 7, whether property is benefited by a local or lateral sewer because of availability of that sewer. 8, cost of collecting, treating, and disposing of garbage in a sanitary manner. 9, amount of money sufficient to compensate municipality for property taxes that would be paid on the sewage works if it were privately owned. And 10, any other factors the legislative body considers necessary. The municipal legislative body may exercise reasonable discretion in adopting different schedules of fees or making classification in schedules of fees based on variation in costs, including capital expenditures and furnishing services to various classes of users or to various locations, or number of users in various locations. So, and all this is just kind of to give you that background. You do have a lot of latitude for you to decide what are just and equitable and fair rates for everybody. Again, we did not deviate far from the 2004 rate ordinance, as we had that battle at that point in time. Felt like it was pretty inclusive that those were fair and equitable rates, so if everyone shares proportionately the increase going forward, a lot of that argument should be gone. In the rate study, we've got base revenue, operation and maintenance cost, required revenue to cover that cost, and the rate that would create the required revenue. The next page is base revenue. It's residential, non-residential, commercial, industrial, government, multifamily, public fire, educational, church. All of those are just background information for you so that you can see from the accounting records of the utility, these are the number of users, the service charge, and the consumption that makes up the base where we're at in 2011. So that way you've got a good historical perspective, and we have to build that in order to figure out how it is when we increase the rates to these different classes, what spits out as revenue, so that you are going to set rates that produce sufficient revenue to meet all your cost needs. So just good background information for you. Next page is the base revenue on trash, which tells you the number of users at the $10, that it produces roughly $500,000 a year for payment toward trash services. Next page, base revenue totals. When we look at residential and non-residential, total water revenue is approximately $1.759 million. Again, with your $500,000 in trash service. Total wastewater and trash revenue is approximately $2.258 million. Next page takes you into your projected operations and maintenance expense. This upper section is wastewater, and these numbers are adjusted for 2011. Near the end of the report is a page that lists the adjustments to the actual 2011 and the substantiation for that, if any of you want to go into that detail. The first item are the employee salaries and benefits. Then you have the sewage treatment charges, materials and supplies, professional services, other services and charges, insurance, Indy DPW at $59,599. You have an ongoing agreement, and this goes back into the 70s when DPW expanded the capacity and the facilities of the treatment plants at both Southport and Belmont. You had to pay for part of those capital improvements according to the agreement. You have a new agreement. All those old bonds have been paid for, fleshed out. You now have new debt service coming forward, and that current expense is this $59,599 annually. That number will grow. It will grow depending on what improvements they make at the Southport plant that are deemed to be of benefit to the treatment of the sewage from the city of Beech Grove. It is in the agreement. The agreement between DPW and EPA is what's driving what their changes are. It's just one of those things you have to pass down. They are the ones that treat your sewage, and outside of building your own sewer treatment plant, you're pretty much going to have to pony up for at least a proportionate share of what those costs are going
The
forward.
share, Jeff, between 2002 and 2028, we'll have to pay $1.19 million on top of ordinary monthly wastewater fees for our portion of Southport Road rehab,
Is that the 59, or is that the 59 plus the new anticipated?
plus the new anticipated.
Okay.
So that's above and beyond what we would bill here locally for monthly fees.
Yes.
Say that, what was that?
Citizens Water, or Citizens Energy treats our wastewater.
Right.
And the transfer station is in the city park, and all of our wastewater that is generated in Beech Grove travels in the sewer system to Southport Road, and that's where they treat it.
Right.
The city of Beech Grove has signed an agreement last year with our city of Indianapolis and Citizens Energy. So between 2002 and 2028, the people of Beech Grove will pay $1.19 million extra above and beyond their normal sewer bill to pay for upgrades to the Southport treatment plant.
That's not in here?
They are included in
Yeah,
there.
that's it.
But he's just saying that's above what would be the normal treatment charge because you have those capital.
Okay, but
But
it
they are
is
included in the rate.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Other operating and maintenance expenses on wastewater, we have miscellaneous and pilot, which is payment in lieu of tax. And that was that number 9 on the points I gave you up front that said one of the things you can consider or compensate yourself for is the payment of property taxes were the utility to be privately owned. And that is part of your operation and maintenance, which is $1.139 million approximately. On the trash service side, you have the employee salaries and benefits, landfill for taking it to your actual hard trash to the landfill, materials and supplies, other services and charges, insurance, miscellaneous, a pilot payment as well for the proportionate amount of the trash infrastructure, and an amount for your new trash truck leases that you did have to replace going forward. That total cost approximately $725,000. So total operation and maintenance approximately $1.865 million. Next page on the annual revenue requirements, we take over the projected costs of wastewater operation and maintenance and the trash operation and maintenance. Then again, as we talked about earlier, the debt service from 2004, both for the SRF, which is the state revolving fund, and the bond bank. State revolving fund, next planned payments are approximately $136,000, and the bond bank about $68,000. Return on investment, as we talked about before, going to the city's general fund for wastewater at $650,000 and trash at $56,000. Operating and capital reserves. There's a standard for your utility. You should keep an ongoing operating and capital reserve somewhere between 1% and 2%. This $151,000 represents approximately 1.5% of your asset base. So total revenue requirements is about $2.9 million. You had about $50,000 in miscellaneous receipts. So you're just a tick under $2.9 million of what you need to raise. Next page, summary of revenue and expenses. Again, we've got the operating revenue that we talked about from up front, which was the summation of residential, non-residential sewage works fees plus trash fees of the approximately $2.258 million. We've also taken an adjustment where we looked at the St. Francis revenue that was coming out of the building that is no longer going to be, as far as we know at this point, no longer going to be producing flows into the sewage system. The adjustment there was negative $193,000, so that brings your revenue down to about $2.065 million. Again, on the previous page, we talked about $50,000 in miscellaneous fees, so total revenue is about $2.1 million. The operation and maintenance at $1.865 million shows that with the current revenue stream, you could fund the O&M. Then you add in the debt service to the SRF and the bond bank of another $205,000, which gets you to just barely enough to cover those operations and maintenance and the debt service. Then when we add in the capital reserves along with the reasonable return on investments to the general fund, we end up needing revenue of approximately $813,000. So the next page shows the rate table of the service charge remaining at $7.10, the rate charge per 100 cubic feet going from $1.90 under the current rates to the $2.46 as the mayor talked about. Residential minimum then goes from the $16.60 to the $19.40. The other rates, as we talked about, are proportionate increases based on those residential amounts to keep the relationship between the categories of meter size of less than an inch, inch and a quarter, inch and a half, 2, 3, 4, and 6 inch. Keep that same relationship between all different classes. The report I have before me and the numbers that the mayor read off were slightly different, and if that's the case with the one you're looking at as well, that is something that I'll delve down into and flesh out tomorrow in my office. The rates that the mayor gave for less than 1 inch to 6 inch. We're just a tad bit higher than what I've got in my table. But again, we'll get all that rectified as you go forward in adopting your rates to make sure that is precise. Next page is on the trash charge, going from 10 to 15. And again, that is to cover the anticipated portion of the sewage works that is related to hard trash service. Next page is comparison to other Indiana wastewater utilities. And again, some of the comparisons that were out there were total rate per 100 cubic feet. And you can see Beech Grove currently $9 for that 100 cubic feet, proposed going to $9.56. The state average is $19.86. So it's double what it is you're going to have. And we've got the city of Jasper in the $15 range, Seymour in the $9 range inside the utility, inside the municipal limits. Seymour outside is about $14, Frankfurt $11.30, Bedford almost $12, Crawfordsville about $7.70, and Lebanon about $17. And then again, to just to kind of add some breadth to the discussion, is look at these comparisons. You may think some of these communities are close to that of Beech Grove. They may resemble you in assessed value or population or some other metric that you think is a good comparison. Feel free to look at those, delve down into their rate structures. You might want to contact some of these other municipalities based on their rates and their structures.
Are they all city-owned utilities, or?
These, I believe, are all city or town-owned. Yeah. But like I say, the other comparisons in there, you've got some bar charts for consumption charge per 100 cubic feet, monthly base charge of a 5/8 meter, total rate on 100 cubic feet. Then coverage ratio, if you get to that page. We've got a couple ratios that we have to set out when we establish these rates in order to cover your debt service and have sufficient money for you to continue to operate. And one is the coverage ratio, which is the income that is available for debt service divided by the annual debt service expense. And this is the indicator of a system's ability to repay debt. And again, you do have outstanding debt. If it is less than 1, banks, bond buyers, and lending agencies are unlikely to lend money to the system. And you have a commitment with the State Revolving Fund and the Indiana Bond Bank that you maintain at least a 1.1 coverage ratio. 1.25 is a normal target for larger systems. If you decided today that you needed to do any sort of improvement that would require a bond issue, in order for us to get it out there and get it sold, you would have to have at least 1.25 coverage to sell those bonds and get good active interest rates, and probably would be a lot better positioned at about 1.5. 1.9 can often be preferred for small systems, and if you have a strong operating ratio, it'll take care of the coverage ratio by itself. Under your current rates, if we look at where we would end up, our coverage ratio is only about 1.05. So we're anticipating that doing the things that you have always done, you are not going to be able to have enough cash to meet your coverage ratio that you agreed to with the State Revolving Fund and the Indiana Bond Bank. If this happens, again, they monitor you every year. They'll send you a letter that says you're in violation of this, and the remedy is you need to raise your rates. If this occurs based on the actual results of the year, hopefully you'll already be in the position where you've raised the rates, and then you can just properly respond, acknowledged, already in place, and it'll take care of itself. Under the proposed rate, the coverage ratio would go to approximately 1.68. On the operating ratio, it is the total revenues divided by operating expenses. The minimum for a utility is 1. Anything less requires the utility to review rate structures as the expenses are exceeding the revenues. 1.15 is generally accepted operating ratio for systems with greater than 2,000 connections. And 1.35 plus is recommended for operating ratio for systems with less than 1,000 connections. Under your current rates, you're looking at an operating ratio of approximately 1.1, and this would take you to approximately 1.12. So again, you're close to that 1.15 number, but the coverage ratio for your debt on the other side, you're in good shape. Again, though, that would depend. If you issue more debt, then obviously that changes the ratio on the coverage side, which would need more revenue in order to fund it and fuel it. Again, the rest of the study is the adjustments to the O&M, which are details that I'll let you read at your leisure if you choose to. Calculations for pilot and reasonable return on investment. Show all those calculations there for your enjoyment or sleep, as the case may be. And capital reserve calculation. The capital assets of the utility are just over $10 million. Again, the appropriate capital reserve requirement is somewhere between 1% and 2%. At 1.5%, which is what's built into this rate study, that gives you the cushion on either operating or capital of about $151,000 a year. And then to end it are your outstanding amortization schedules with the bond bank and the SRF fund. So you can see what those debts look like as they mature out into 2025. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I've got one, Jeff.
Yes,
As
sir.
far as our debt ratio, with debt we've already incurred, if we was to refinance this debt, would that bring the ratio up to help us to meet our...
That is possible, and one of the things that we're doing this fall is reviewing all of those outstanding debts for our clients to see if there is potential for refundings. And you know, just like your 10-year bond issue that you got for just under 2%. 2 weeks ago, we sold a $3.6 million A+ rated 15-year bond that amortizes across 14 years, and it also came in under 2%. We had a 7-year debt that came in with a bid of under 1.7%. So right now there's a lot of opportunity. We'll look at that, and that is a possibility to help that coverage ratio.
As far as that on the same token, as far as would we be better off shortening the length of the loan, or how would that work out?
It's going to depend on, originally, the position that the city was in. There was not a recent audit prior to 2004. We had real concerns of taking a debt out to the public market with no audited financial statements to back it up, and there's no way we were going to be able to get that rated. So we ended up with the bond bank and the state revolving fund, because they're going to take all that debt and pool it together and put the state's moral obligation behind it to sell it. So Beech Grove is in a lot better position today than it was when those bonds were issued as to financial statements. I don't think you're in any better financial shape, but at least you accounted for the stuff that you have. So it's going to depend on what type of interest the market has for that. Obviously, we saw great interest on your general obligation bond. You know, if the bank's stepping up at just over 2% for a 59-month lease, 2.1 or whatever it was, I think those are good signs that you can potentially shorten the term if you want. The shorter we make the terms, the better the interest rates get. But again, you'll want to weigh that against how much additional burden does it put on these ratios. Because if we lower the interest rate, we'll drive up our ratio. If we lower the time period and the interest rate, we can potentially balance those out. Or if we shorten it so much, we might increase the debt service and lower the ratio. But those are all, it's three moving parts, but we can help you go through that and make that decision.
I have a question. We recently, and I know this is dated August 13th, but I don't think that it was in effect, but we recently added commercial trash pickup and started charging, for more than 2 trash totes, and so that's going to be some added revenue for the trash. Was that taken into effect, or was that taken into account or consideration when creating these numbers?
I would say not.
No,
I think
this
that-
month here was the first month that billing has went out, and we have very few commercial trash, I want to say 10 or less, probably that they're doing. And what the advantage is, we've lost some big trash pickup that we were doing for free that we're not paying for dumping anymore. So that's where some savings would come in there.
So we're actually getting rid of less trash and gaining a little bit of revenue.
Exactly, yes.
Well, and that'll be good too, because, as you can see, $15 is a round number. It's somewhere between 15 and 16. So depending on what those numbers are. And we can get as precise as you want to get. But again, we just want to have a good broad base of what is fair and equitable, generates the ability for you to continue what you've been doing and not have any cash flow issues.
Further questions by council?
I do have a question, but mine is more on the general ordinance. The new residential activation,
Non-residential?
the increase, it's a decrease from 75 to 25.
Yeah, that was,
Do we have a lot of non-residential?
no, not really, but the reason that I threw it in there was based solely on Eckstein shoes. They come in and had new ownership, and to activate that was $75. And it just stuck.
Yeah.
That just stuck. And said, you know what? They're coming here,
Right.
so forget it. Why don't we just lower this to $25 and go with it? There's not that many, John.
I understand. Why would we be a detriment to new business coming in? I completely understand.
If there's no other questions, I got a couple, Jeff. We talked about this morning. What happens if we decide not to do anything at all? If we decide to leave it like it is right now?
You'll start with a letter from the State Revolving Fund and the Bond Bank, and then you'll get nasty grams, probably from the Attorney General's office, because you did pledge to repay those debts and to provide sufficient revenues in order to pay those. And if you're not going to provide those, you need not be in the utility business.
All right, so we can either just not do anything about it and take the hit and eventually go broke. Two, appears we're going to have to adjust these rates every other year or every year
It could
to
be,
keep up with
you know,
citizens.
Ed and I and you met early on, talked about rates, and can we build in an automatic adjuster? And we looked at, I think it was an example from the city of Lawrence. The metric they're using is not a good cost driver. Your primary cost driver would be those increases that Citizens Energy passes on to you for treatment costs. If it goes up 7% a year, your rates should probably go up 7% a year. Now, can you, and I would throw this back to legal counsel about going forward, can you implement an ordinance that allows you to do this automatic adjustment going forward? Or do you have to every time go through this process where you have the open political discussion to flesh this out and say, yeah, taking all these things into consideration and everything that's changed, not just the increase to the bill, this is the new legal rates of the City of Beech Grove Sewage Works. I'm kind of thinking it may be the latter is the answer.
I agree.
So, yeah, if that is the case, that you can't really put in an automatic cost increase, then, yeah, you're probably going to need to look at it every couple of years.
I met with Citizens Energy again last Friday, and January of 2012, they raised their rates to treat this 10.75%. And they told me last Friday, that they're going to do it again in January 2013. So here we go again. We're taking these hits. This is 4 years in a row, or 5 years now, that they have adjusted, either the City of Indianapolis or Citizens Energy Group has adjusted the rates. So, when's enough enough? When do we consider getting out of this business?
Yeah, and again, I think that's, I don't think that they're going to charge you much of a premium by not owning you. But obviously, them being a business, they will at some point in time do that. Because the incentive would be, because you guys are basically a subset inside their service district anyway. They have to want you and want to, get away with those false boundaries. So I would assume over time that, they'll push it to the point that it makes sense for you to sell it to them than to continue to pay the price. And, I don't say that as some, great specter from Citizens Energy. It makes common sense that they would want to own that service area for which they're providing services to.
Sure. All right. Further questions by council members? Tammy Smith. Jeff, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tammy Smith, please come forward. And your address, please.
My name's Tammy Smith. My address is 614 Middleham Circle in Beech Grove. I also own several properties around the Beech Grove area, and I also own properties outside of the Beech Grove area. I actually, the study that the gentleman just read, I don't understand exactly why Jasper and different areas of Indiana are comparable to rates for Beech Grove, because I own a piece of property just down the street outside of Beech Grove limits in Perry Township on Troy Avenue, and I have the bill right here. And, this isn't one of those long studies, but the sewer base charge is $3.60. I mean, I know this because I've lived outside of Beech Grove, and I've talked to a lot of my neighbors. And all of us, we want to know, they asked me to come back with information. They want to know what they need to do to get our rates lower. We pay, 2 or 3 times what they do just down the street in Perry Township. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. And actually surveying my neighbors today, several of them had these long list of complaints and wish they could be here tonight. And they hope that you don't pass any ordinance that's going to change anything right now, because I really think with everything that was just presented, I was really shocked by the information of the study. I don't think it's accurate. I don't think there has been enough research. If I've got this, and anybody can see it, it's right here on Troy, right outside of the Beech Grove city limits. Here it is. Sewer base charge is $3.60. Sewer volume charge is $8.04. It's included with a very convenient bill, because this is, the citizens' water. And I have some tenants that I've had to pay their bills since they've lived there, And with the fees, late fees and everything, because they came from Perry Township where this is what they would get each month, and they expected the same. They didn't know it was a separate bill. And when they saw what the separate bill was, they said, how could this be? You know, we've lived in Perry Township all these years and we've never received a bill so high. There's a lot more complaints than just the rate hikes, it's the services. And, you know, I apologize, I don't want to offend anybody, but the billing is really, really, really bad. I can't even stress that enough. I personally have had a lot of issues with sending in a bill for a property and being sent a disconnect, or not a disconnect, but a lien notice, and I paid it off, but they applied it to a different one. We had do a lot of research to figure out why, even though the payment and my check was cashed and everything, why it wasn't applied. And I'm not the only one that's received problems like this. There's a lot of other problems. You know, I personally, after hearing that you don't have to be a utility, you know, Beech Grove doesn't have to be in the utility business.
That was going to be my question. You would be better off, your recommendation to this council would be to get out of business.
Yes, it would be. Because, and I lived in Greenwood, and we have never had anything like the outrageous, and I have usually maybe just the basic base charges on my sewer bill. But some of my tenants have these outrageous amounts, and I can't even figure out how they could have these outrageous amounts. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The base charge, I don't know what it's for. I'm just a one person in my home. You know, if they have a family and are using any water at all, you know, they're getting hit with these huge fees. And they didn't expect that, you know, when they rented this property, because they were used to probably renting in Indianapolis area, which I would think if you're going to do a study of down the street. What are people, you know, if we were to not be in the utility business and if we were going to be part of the citizens' water, what are we going to expect from that? And I say that this is a good example of what we're going to expect. And we're talking about cutting our bills in half. I mean, who doesn't want that? And when I was talking to some neighbors today, they were unaware. One person said, well, they're talking about a $5 hike cut. It's already too high and we're going in the wrong direction. And then I hear this proposal from the study that it's $5 in one area. It's really, isn't it really?
$5 in trash pickup.
Trash pickup, but there's another area that's going to increase as well. So the increase is going to be somewhere around, what, $10 a month?
About $7.
$7 a month to something that's already out of control. And we're going in the wrong area. And this is what I'm concerned about. Being a homeowner, and my business is investment property. And I love Beech Grove. I love the people of Beech Grove. It's like a small town right in the middle of a big city. And the people are friendly. There's something about Beech Grove. And so I bought a lot of property here, and I want to keep that property, but because I haven't bought any in a while because of the sewer bill. Between that and the tax rates are very high, but I think that's good because our school systems are, you know, from what I've heard, you know, they're excellent. I have grandkids in our school systems, but this utility thing is just out of control. And like I said, the other thing that I've heard complaints about is that your system's antiquated. I do know personally that I was charged, if I had a renter move out and I had to put the water in my name, I'm always charged $25 fee for that if I had it on for like 2 or 3 weeks. One time I was charged for 4 months of sewer bills when I had the water on for a little over a month. They weren't in sync with the water thing, and it's because of the billing cycle is what they said. And I wasn't reimbursed for any of that. And then $25 every time we switch a name. I had one that I wanted to switch it from one name to another, and you know, they said, well, I said, it's my name, it's always been me. And they said, well, we can't put it, even though it's being sent to my address. And I said, the name on the account is wrong. They said, well, you'll have to pay another $25 to get it right. And that's just wrong. So it continues to come in the wrong name.
Now, also, Tammy, we've just found out recently, since Citizens Energy took over the water company.
Yes.
There's, was it 4,200 users in Beech Grove? Is that what it was?
Something like that.
4,400? They charge us 74 cents every time they read a meter. The clerk gets a bill every other month from Citizens Energy for $3,200 to read our meters.
Starting in October, it's going to be monthly. They're going to read every month. So we just got a double increase.
I think that they're really trying to pressure you into getting out of the utility business, and I think it would be a benefit to the residents to get out of the utility business. And, you know, when it comes to property values, a lot of people don't want to buy in Beech Grove because, you know, on top of, you know, taxes is a big thing. And, you know, the taxes are high here, like I said, but the sewer rates is really, looks like just, you know, another tax. So, you know, and I don't think that, you know, it's up to you, but I don't think that you're ready to make a vote on this because at this point, there needs to be a little more research done. And the community really doesn't know what's going on here tonight. The few people I talked to today were shocked and they were outraged. And they said, you know, ask them what can we do so you can get the feedback from the community because, you know, this is serious business right here. You know, it may seem like just a few more dollars, but it's a few more dollars on top of a ridiculous amount already. That's what we're looking at. You know, there's a lot of foreclosures in Beech Grove. I don't know if you've seen the HUD site or seen, but there's a lot of foreclosures. And, you know, a lot of people are struggling just to make ends meet. And just adding more to that is just, you know, like the straw that broke the camel's back. We just can't keep doing this to our people. That's all I have to say.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak on this? Council, I'll open the floor up for discussion. I can, if you would like, I can have Citizens Energy come out and give a presentation and talk to you before we move forward. If you would like to do that.
I would like that.
I would like that.
What are they going to say? What are they, you know, what can they add to this, I guess?
Well, they can talk about the system itself, what they can offer our city.
In terms of purchasing our...
Purchasing the system. Or we can continue, or we can move forward and go through this ordinance.
Open, always good to get information.
What I would like to do is I would like to introduce this only on first reading tonight. Then I will schedule a presentation by Citizens Energy to come out and give us a presentation before we move on second reading.
I second that.
You've heard the ordinance. I ask for a motion to approve general ordinance number 32 on first reading.
I'll make said motion to accept on first reading.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign.
Nay.
6-1.
Who voted no?
Anthony did. We will. I will ask Citizens Energy to come out and present a presentation to the council prior to moving to second reading. With that, that concludes new business. At this time, we'll do council comments. To my far right, Dave.
No comment tonight.
Joe Griffin, congratulations. You still there? You are, Joe. Congratulations. Hope the RDC takes full advantage of all your knowledge of the system. Want to again invite everybody to enjoy Beech Grove sports. I've left a volleyball game to come to this meeting, and volleyball is very entertaining. You got a great group of kids playing. You need to catch one of your local sports teams playing. The football team has came out guns a-blazing with a 2-1 record. They need your support as much as we need them. Enjoy one of your local high school or grade school games this week. It'll be good for you. That's all I have.
Dave.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming. And in reference to ordinance number 33, if and when it's looked at again, I'll let everybody know that I did agree with everything in this ordinance. But that being said, I think if we look at it again, we really need to look at the educational incentive pay and the part-time employees. And that's all I got to say.
Anthony?
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out as well. I'd like to thank all the council members for their help with ordinance 25, 29, 30, 31. Thank everybody again for voting for kids in Beech Grove with this youth advisory board. I think it's going to be a good thing. And if anybody has any kids in the Beech Grove school system, private schools, or any other school or homeschool that live in the city of Beech Grove, be sure to watch for this coming out and look forward to it. Thanks.
Ed?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, folks, for coming out. I want to thank, I don't see him right now, the chief, fire chief, Aaron Janetti also, working out, talking on 33. We've got a lot to discuss. Ties in with the budget, which is going to be coming up also. So thank you. And Joe, it was a long time coming. Congratulations. And I may want to add, I understand we do have another new member of the RDC, the mayor choice, Kathy Chappell. I'd like to congratulate her as well. I do have one thing I need to read real quick. I won't read all of it. It's just a notice we got from Jeff Sinclair. It's from Indianapolis Citizen Energy. Excuse me. He's lifted the mandatory water use restrictions as of noon Wednesday, September the 5th. But we still should have voluntary water usage restrictions on residents and businesses. Should limit watering established lawns and trees only once a week. New sod and seed should be watered Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. The other they're asking is the residents to not wash their cars with a hose or clean sidewalks or driveways. And that's it. Thank you.
Most of all, I want to reiterate what my fellow council members said. It's really a great thing when you look that we passed in total 7 ordinances tonight. 2 were on third reading. There were 5 on second, third reading. I'm tickled to death that ordinance number 33 was not passed, was not even presented for numerous reasons. It's great to see so many council members agreeing to disagree on different things, but coming together as a group. And thank you for everybody that contributed. Congratulations very much, Joe, on many years of hard work, and thank you all for your interest. That's it.
Never heard anything left to say. Thank you. Just bear with us. It's going to be interesting next month, 6 weeks with the budget and the wastewater and everything that's going on. So thanks for everyone who comes to the meeting, shares their input. Thank you, Jeff, for all your hard work. And Chiefs, I know you guys are going through the budgeting process yourselves and, help to educate us. And we're all going to have to grit our teeth a little bit, I think, this year. So it'll be fun.
One announcement, the police department's K9 fundraiser is this Sunday at O'Gara's. I'm not sure of the time.
Noon to 4. Was it?
Noon to 4?
Noon to 4.
I want to bring that out. And also the council will meet next Monday, September the 10th at 7 p.m. And it will be the introduction of the 2013 budget. So the public is invited to attend. Ask for a motion to adjourn. Second? Second. The meeting is adjourned 8:30.